What's up, sports bettors? We're going through an MLB player prop bet for tonight, so I'm really excited about this one. And this bet is going to be from OddsJam's middle betting tool, right? So, what is a middle bet? This is a very important concept to understand, and it's really interesting as well. So, a middle bet is when sportsbooks set their lines, especially for player props, at different levels, right? So, what you'll notice here is what OddsJam is alerting us to is, hey, there's a middle in Shane Bieber's strikeout market, right? So in the Royals-Guardians game, you can see right here, all the sportsbooks kind of have the line set at over under 6.5. So if we just open up this event page, what you'll notice is, hey, all of the sportsbooks, essentially except FanDuel, are pricing the over 6.5 as an underdog slightly, right? Or they have it as a complete coin flip. On DraftKings, it's -115. For Shane Bieber, over under 6.5 strikeouts. So what's very interesting is you'll notice, hey, Bet Online, all these sportsbooks have the under 6.5 strikeouts favored, and FanDuel is giving us under 7.5 at -108 odds. So that's a middle bet, right? So what you could do, for example, is bet on Pinnacle right here, +105 on Shane Bieber over 6.5 strikeouts at +105 odds. And you could bet the under 7.5 at -108 odds. Then, if there's exactly 7 strikeouts in the game, both bets are going to win, right? Your over 6.5 on Pinnacle will win. Your under 7.5 is going to win. And obviously, the distribution is centered around 7.5. So or 7, 6. So the probability that Shane Bieber has exactly 7 strikeouts, it's not trivial, right? It's probably like 10%, maybe even higher. So that's a ridiculous opportunity, being able to get the over 6.5 at +105 and then hit the under 7.5 at -108. So that's called middle betting, right? And it's a sports betting strategy that's pretty cool and important to understand. And another thing you can do, I don't have Pinnacle available to me, right, is you can just bet the under, right? As a sports bettor, you're always looking for these true pricing discrepancies where one sports book, such as FanDuel here, under 7.5 Ks -108, is just way off from the rest of the market, right? And you can see here, FanDuel's ridiculously far off. They're full strikeout off. They have the over 7.5 favored. Most sports books have the under 6.5 favored. So, of course, you may have your own personal handicapping opinions about Shane Bieber, but from a mathematical perspective, being able to get under 7.5 when you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 10 other sports books all pricing the under 6.5 as a coin flip or as the favorite outcome, being able to get under 7.5 at -108 is ridiculous value, right? It's just a logical, mathematical bet that has a very high profit margin. So I ended up locking it in. We can see if there's any other good middle bets available. It's a pretty interesting tool available on OddsJam. So for example, we have Saquon Barkley here, a middle between over 88.5, under 94.5. So what we can do is just kind of click into it. And this percent shows you if you were to bet both sides, how much do you lose assuming the middle does not hit? So this may be a little confusing, but a middle is kind of like a lottery ticket, right? So here, we're losing 70 cents for every $100 bet to win both bets if there's exactly 7 strikeouts in the game. That's how you think about it. I'm paying -0.7%. I'm paying 0.7% for Shane Bieber to have, under 7.5 strikeouts. And we said Shane Bieber to have 10 strikeouts, exactly 7 strikeouts is probably like 10%, 11%, maybe even higher. Probably actually closer to like 15%. So you're paying 70 cents on the dollar for something that's 15% to occur. So this bet is ridiculously profitable. And then we can see, kind of here, right, if you're going to go with a play on underdog fantasy, it would be the under 94.5 rushing yards. 2 sports books are pricing the under 88.5 as the favorite outcome. So if we can get 6 yards higher and get under 94.5, that seems pretty good. And you could even hedge out a little bit if you have Caesars available to you and bet a little on the over 88.5. You're kind of day trading sports, right? where, if there's exactly 90 rushing yards for Saquon, we'd win the over 88.5, we'd win our under, and you're paying the small fee for a middle. And we can continue to go through. There's kind of a lot of bets out there. Now, there are considerations, right? Like, obviously, a middle for football is more valuable if the point spread is 2.5 to 3 or 3 to 3.5 or 6.5 to 7, key numbers, as opposed to 1 to 1.5, right? The probability of a game ending by 1 point is a lot different than the probability of a game ending by 3 points or 6 points or, 7 points, outcomes that are likely to occur. So here's another interesting one. We have the Seahawks first half team total. You can get the Seahawks under 9.5. Wow. That looks pretty wild if you think about it. So you can get the Seahawks under 9.5 here for first half team total at plus 100. You can get the over 7.5 at minus 106 on Pinnacle. So again, this looks like another good spot to bet the under 9.5 as a sharp data-driven bettor. So what we can do is actually just kind of see, you can take a look at the full betting market. It's just very interesting. Anyways, that's all I got for this video, that one middle. We got our bet on Shane Bieber under 7.5 strikeouts. Let's make some money.